Bam. Bam. Newsflash. Oh my god. Oh my god. Guys and dolls. Well, not dolls. Dolls. Guys and gals. Oh my god. I woke up, right? Completely by accident. And I thought I'll just check to see, because remember I said I've been waiting to hear. I've been waiting for news. I've been waiting for news. And I've been keeping away from, just, I'm basically in the underworld doing my thing, writing my stuff, doing my do, planning my future. And I've been saying to you, I've been coming in temporarily on X and that just because I'm expecting news. I've been waiting for it. And it looks like it's about to happen. So people have started petitioning the king, writing to the king directly. Someone's written to the king. I'll put links in the description box asking him to do his job basically. And as I have been saying for months and months and months and months, under God's law and natural law, the king is obligated to respond. Otherwise, under the Magna Carta, if the king doesn't defend the rights of the people against the government, the people have the right to dethrone the king. They can do it legally. It's in the Magna Carta. People have started listening to me. People are listening to me, guys. People are taking my advice, and word is starting to spread, and it's all getting out. And now someone has taken the initiative to put what I said into action and petition the king. So I was like, all those digital ID signatures, the millions of signatures that people got to put on that online petition, and that take all those signatures for the demanding of the election and to stop the digital ID stuff, take all those signatures and put it in a letter, a handwritten letter, handwritten signatures. Even take templates from this man's letter, copy it out, put your own name and address and, your information instead of his, and just fire those letters off with your signature to the king, directly to the king. He would end up with hundreds of thousands and millions of letters turning up on his doorstep where he would be forced to respond by law because he answers to God. And when the people are calling out to the king for help, he's required by law to respond. In short, Starmer and Labour are screwed because now everybody's focusing on the king, and it's going to put all that pressure on the king to respond. Everything I said, guys, and people are listening. People are now actually starting to listen. I said, I swear I'd be a fantastic Prime Minister. The only thing that puts me off is my stomach, my disability from being tortured and that. I can't take prescription medication because I'm allergic to everything. But this means Starmer's it. He's it. Labour's it. It means that next year, as of tomorrow, we got, because this is incredible for New Year's Eve, it means that we're going to get a new election within the next couple of weeks, couple of months. Labour and Starmer are gone. There will be no war in Russia. There will be no digital IDs. It's all going to get torn down. And then what's going to happen is legal bodies are then going to start coming in and looking at all the things that him and his government and Parliament have done while he's been in power that have been illegal. And a lot of those laws that he passed, and a lot of those judges and cops and cops and lawyers are all going to be held accountable for passing illegal laws, and everything he's done is going to get torn down. So all the people that were sent to prison for posting meanie words and stuff like that, they won't only be released from prison with all charges dropped, they'll be able to sue the government for compensation. Like that's what's coming. Remember I said, what did I say? Next year, 2026, is the year of the Phoenix. Everything's getting burnt to the ground. What did I say, guys? What did I say? Hang on, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. I couldn't go back to sleep. I quickly made myself a coffee, fed the fox, and came and fed the fox some Christmas gammon, and then quickly came running in to do my newsflash. I was actually thinking what I might do when I do my news flashes for my channel, for my streaming service. I was thinking what I might do is actually turn them into, take the characters like Grim Rapier and Pearl and Dober Drexel and that, whenever I have to do, when I do these news flashes, do real ones. But see how I say I'll put the links in the description box below. Edit it in such a way where the characters are actually presenting the evidence on the channel. So instead of now where it's just you clicking the link in the description box, when we're reporting the news with all this information and saying I found this and I found that, we'd actually hold it up and present it on the screen like an actual news channel. The Ministry of Souls News Network news channel. There'll be like news flashes and all that. So instead of me running to you with these lives, it'll be like Grim Rapier and Pearl Whitacombe and Dober Drexel and that coming to present the news. And actually, because I don't know how to turn all the links and information in that into, like, I can't do editing, or I'm not technical like that. I can't do that sort of stuff. It's too hard for me. My brain doesn't function on like maths and those kind of algorithms and using sound and editing and all that. But yeah, that that's gonna be when people know, oh, here's a news flash. So I'm going to turn it into a real animation, but not using AI. It'll either be hand-drawn animation or old school digital, where it's like Grim Rapier and Dober and Pearl doing these news flashes and these news updates that I do, but in graphic form, for entertainment, to put on my streaming service and that, and then you'll be able to, because you know how like on the news, how it'll flash up with like photos of what it is they're talking about or videos of what they're talking about, like, or what do you call it, like shots of like newspaper headlines and that sort of thing. I'll do that, and then it means that you won't have to necessarily go through all the links, because I'll present it like a real news thing. So the Ministry of Souls News Network. So get ready, Great Britain, because Starmer's out on Christmas Eve. On New Year's Eve, just what did I say? From Christmas Day to New Year's Eve, everything I said that was going to happen with Starmer has happened, because he threatened to bomb the Holy Land. He threatened to send missiles into the Holy Land. So he's screwed up big time. And now his sex life has been exposed. Hang on, I'm just going to have another sip of my coffee. Yeah, it's all coming down. There will be no war. There will be no digital ID. There will be no bowing to Israel. When there is another election, please do not vote the Tories and do not vote the Labour. Learn from your past mistakes, people, because they're all in on the Epstein thing. Do not vote for anyone who has any connection to Israel or Epstein. I'm telling you now, go with a new party. Go with one of the parties that actually cares about Great Britain and not the interests of their own bank balances. They not only sold their souls to the devil, to Molech, but they sold the souls of their nation's people as well. And they're not people that you want running your country. Go for one of the new ones. One of the ones that isn't bloodthirsty. Remember I said with me, Big Brother won't be watching. What did I say? Big Brother won't be watching you. He'll be watching over you. Because if I was Prime Minister, all the surveillance would be facing out of Great Britain, making sure that nothing and nobody that didn't earn the right to be here the right way got in through those borders. I'd be using my Army, Air Force and Navy to protect British lands and British shores. And I'd seal us off in a nice little bubble and just let us rebuild our farmlands and plant trees and clean up our waterways, and I'd turn Great Britain into heaven on earth. Because we've been living in hell on earth with him, and with the Labour and Tories, Great Britain has never had a easy time of it. So it's time for new, and this is where it comes in, and this is why it's so poignant that this is all happening on New Year's Eve, because tomorrow we get to wipe the slate clean and start again, and it has to start with who we vote for. Do not vote for Labour or the Tories and hold these people accountable. You're allowed to check their finances, you're allowed to check their history, you can stop their wages from going through, you can stop paying council tax by law if you're unhappy with how your elected officials are doing their job, and people don't realise that. As Prime Minister, I'd be letting everybody know. Now don't forget, do a background check. Just having a sip of my coffee. I can't believe people are listening. Starmer is about to burn in hell in full view of everyone. So like I said, one of two things are going to happen. We're going to get an announcement from the King to say that he's dissolving Parliament. And we're going to get an announcement from Starmer to say he's resigning. He'll try and make excuses as to why, trying to defend everything he did, but he's gone. So I think he's going to be told either resign or we're kicking you out, but one of them is going to help you save face a little. So over the next couple of days, just prepare for an announcement from the King and from Keir Starmer. I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is we're about to get news that he's either been fired or he's resigned. But the whole thing is getting torn down. It's not like someone's going to replace him, because nobody trusts Labour anymore. So saying Angela Rayner and all that, firstly, she can't come back because under the electoral laws, you're not allowed to come back if you've committed a crime. And she committed fraud, money fraud. So she can't be Prime Minister. She can't, legally, she's not supposed to be allowed to be in politics anymore because she committed a crime. And it's got nothing to do with being charged with a crime. She admitted that she committed tax fraud. That's a crime. So she can't be in politics anymore. So, so what's going to happen is the King's going to dissolve Parliament. Just watch. I'm telling you, I've been saying it since Christmas because that retard threatened Russia. When you threaten Russia, you threaten God, because God is getting ready to destroy Israel and turn Russia into the new Holy Land. The new Jerusalem is going to be in Russia. The new world will start in Russia. They're the only ones, other than Hungary, who have been sacrificing everything for the greater good of God. Defending God, defending children, defending, traditional values, that sort of thing. I really, really, really want to go to Hungary. I've made up my mind. When this is over, I want to immigrate to Hungary. I want to start again in Hungary. I've made up my mind. I've been mulling it over for I've been mentioning Hungary for a while, but yeah. So you're going to hear news that the King is dissolving Parliament. You're going to get news that Starmer has resigned. Whether he says it on camera or not, in front of the cameras or not, I don't know. But he's out. So you don't need to worry, Great Britain. Now that people are starting to listen to me, I said to the King, the Oracle peasant, there will be no war, so you don't need to worry about that. There will be no digital ID, there will be no pandemics, there will be no forced vaccinations, there will be no forced this, no forced that, because it's all getting torn down and starting again, just like I said it would. Didn't I, eh? I got your back, Great Britain. I said, hey, remember that live I did when I said that I was going to get rid of Starmer and his government to thank the British taxpayer for having my back while I healed and recovered from being tortured. Because it took me a couple of years when I got released, when I was locked up, it took me a couple of years to discombobulate to demagnetize from everything that had happened because I was so discombobulated. It was like I'd had so many years of being spun around from all the betrayals and deceit and having to watch my back and, having to be hyper vigilant and all that, coming into this flat, when I got removed from the homeless shelter and put into this flat, and I'll always be so grateful for the Wakefield District Housing. They had my back. They've had my back this whole time. Wakefield District Housing, which is now called VICO, and the Wakefield Council, I have to say, in regards to protecting me and looking after me and making sure that I could heal, they have been absolutely phenomenal, which is why I said if I was Prime Minister, I would make people who work for like local district councils and that, I would consider them, consider civil servants as veterans when they retired, and therefore they'd get the same benefits as actual veterans and police officers and first responders and that, because these people do a phenomenal job with, they get no respect for what they do, and guaranteed every time whenever I've needed help, or like when they helped me pick this place and that, they had my back the whole time. I'm getting goosebumps because seriously, they've been phenomenal. The Wakefield Council, Wakefield District Housing and Wakefield Council, but Wakefield District Housing is now called VICO. They have been so respectful of my situation, and so they've been like my guardian angels. It's like they put me in a little protective bubble and wrapped me up with everything that I'd need, so that I could heal physically and demagnetize from everything. Because when you're a victim of domestic abuse and then people keep trying to assassinate you, and then, you've got cops and judges and lawyers and doctors and nurses and that trying to exterminate you because you're an Indigenous reverend and they don't understand your physics and that, that does something to you. You go into like fight or flight mode. You go into survival mode. You have to, you're spun around so much because you're the only person that's got your own back, you see. So when I moved in here, it was peaceful, it's quiet, I'm surrounded by nature. I got to watch my roses bloom in my garden. I got to, I get to like feed the birds and the stray cats and the hedgehogs and the foxes and that, and burn my incense and just be in peace and sit and heal in my protective bubble because of them. And now that I'm healed, now that I'm like Phoenix Rising, which is just so apt because of what 2026 is about, I'm seeing clearly and I'm thinking clearly because I've got calm and peace now, because I've been able to process everything that happened to me in the comfort and safety of somewhere that, even though there's been stuff going on with my neighbours and all of that, I've been protected. I've been protected. I've been protected from the wars going outside my front door, because they picked the perfect place for me to sit in my little bubble and heal. And so now, as if I was Prime Minister, I'd do the same thing for Great Britain, because you've been through a lot. And doing my investigations, to dig up this dirt on Starmer and Boris Johnson and Tony Blair and all that, it's like, holy flip-flop, Batman. Great Britain has been put through some hell. Hang on, if I go quiet, it's because I'm sipping my coffee. You haven't had a single Prime Minister that's had the back of the people. There's always been ulterior motives and the stuffing of the pockets. If I was Prime Minister, I'd want to get every Prime Minister financially audited forensically audited from Tony Blair up. The Queen in those codes keeps insisting it has to start with Tony Blair. So if I was Prime Minister, I'd have every single Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister and MP and that forensically audited, because they've stolen trillions off the taxpayer. I'm telling you now, trillions and trillions to start fake companies to launder money. You threw it from Iraq and Afghanistan and, you know, yeah. So everybody who did this to me and everybody who did what they did to the Queen and the King and the royal family, if I was Prime Minister, they better run, because I'd be cleaning up the injustices. I hate injustice. So the first thing I'd be doing is righting all the wrongs of the British people and the royal family where there's been injustice and injustice. So people would still keep trying to assassinate me then. But it's like I said yesterday, I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. At least I know I'm doing right by the King and the people of Great Britain. Sometimes my voice goes because of my throat took damage from being forced to swallow that medication. It damaged my throat. So if my throat goes out, it's the only thing that holds me back from registering as an MP and becoming, doing a campaign to become Prime Minister is my throat. I can't talk for long periods because my throat and also my stomach took so much damage from being tortured and, with my scars splitting open and that. So, but anyway, when this is over and he's gone and there's a general election, do not vote Labour and do not vote Tories. The head of the Tories, what's her name, Badenoch or whatever her name is, she wants to go to war with Russia. She's trying to prove she's one of the big boys, and she's not. She's exactly the same as all the rest of them. Do not vote Labour, do not vote Conservatives. There are 2 or 3 brand new parties that have been formed since, that were forced to form since Starmer came in, that would be better options. Now is the time, Great Britain, to tear everything down from the past, wipe the slate clean and start again. Do not go back to the old ways. Just because Labour did a bad job doesn't mean the Tories are going to do a better job, because Boris Johnson and Boris Johnson killed our Queen. He pocketed money starting a war with Russia. He's been caught out embezzling money, laundering money through this war in Russia. He was paid money to start the war in Russia, and he was responsible for the killing of our Queen, which, if I was Prime Minister, it would be one of the first things I got investigated, and I'd hold everyone in the media, all the celebrities, all the MPs, and the NHS. I would be holding every single one of them responsible. I had decided the other day, the first thing I would do is close all the borders off. As soon as I was put in as Prime Minister, the first thing I do is close the borders off, so that none of these, and I'd say to Border Patrol, if they're an MP, if they're a doctor, a nurse, a this, a that, a that, and they're linked to COVID or this, that and the other, don't let them out of the country, because then we'll round them up and send them off to trial for genocide and chemical bioterrorism and domestic terrorism and crimes against humanity, and that. I'd round them all up. I'd be downsizing the NHS anyway. Sorry, my voice is going. So, yeah. So get ready, peeps. Just get ready, because it's about to get very exciting in Great Britain. Just learn from your mistakes. This is what you all need to understand. Keir Starmer and Labour were brought in to teach Britain a lesson about karma. Do not repeat the same mistakes in your elections and who you vote for that you have done since Tony Blair. Don't repeat the same mistakes, which means no Labour, no Conservatives. Do not have them as Prime Minister. Jeremy Corbyn is a lovely man. He has everyone's back. That's why they treat him like crap, because he's the decent guy. He's the honest, true. He has integrity and honour. He knows his stuff. He's an honourable man. He lives like in a wee council flat and everything. He could have pocketed millions and millions like the rest of the greedy trout, but he didn't. Jeremy Corbyn, I would 100% support him. But yeah, don't stick with the same mistakes. Keir Starmer was a lesson not to make the same mistakes, which means Labour, get them out. Conservatives, get them out. They need to be the minority party, not the majority party. And it's up to the people of Great Britain to make that happen. Hang on. So it's all about to get very exciting. It's everything I said on Christmas Day. My Christmas message, it's everything I said. And when I say as from tomorrow, and then Boxing Day, all the stuff started coming out. I was digging up all that stuff, and then I said by New Year's Day, and now look, people are petitioning the King. How beautiful. So in the next day or two, when we flip over into the new year, we're going to get news that Labour are out and we get to have a new election. So how exciting. Just don't make the same mistakes you made before. Do not vote Labour. Do not vote Conservatives. Insist. You have the right with your MPs. You have the right to ask them for proof of who their sponsors and contributors are. They're supposed to show you where they're getting their donations from. If any of them are connected to Israel, and I'm not talking about a Jewish person, like, like the Jewish man that owns the business down the road, like I was going to say chip shop, but the Jewish, that's mainly Turkish people. You know what I mean. I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about Israel. Yeah, you can't. From what all the Jewish people I knew don't recognise Israel. They don't consider it their holy land or anything. They understand the story and, the whole thing with Moses and that, but they consider themselves to be patriots of their country who just happen to be Jewish. So this has nothing to do with Jewish people and everything to do with Mossad and Netanyahu. Now's the time to get in prime ministers and MPs in that who are willing to either sever ties or distance themselves, have nothing to do with it, because Israel's about to be wiped off the map. Israel's going to be burnt to the ground, and so that the people can rebuild it correctly, the right way, the moral and ethical way. So, oh my God, so get ready. I can't believe people are listening to me. I'm seeing things on social media and X and that are direct quotes from things that I've said that are picking up where I've left off, where they're following me. My flow on X is all people who have picked up my slipstream. It's beautiful, and now they're starting to petition the King, and like I've said, for months and months and months, he's required by law to respond. Otherwise, according to the Magna Carta, if the King doesn't do right by the plea of the people, you're allowed to start a revolution and dethrone the King, and he doesn't deserve that. He's been dragged through the mud. He's been dragged through things where he innocently, blindly trusted people. Scorpios do that. I know I'm a Scorpio, where you innocently trust people. It's not that we're naive, it's that we have no reason to think we can't trust you until we're proven we can't trust you. And I've been trying to wake the King up, because I know that they got in his head. And I've been trying to wake the King up and say, you can't trust these people. He thought he was doing a good thing for climate change. He thought net zero was a good thing. He didn't realise it was all a front to embezzle money, to launder money. But now he knows. And hopefully he's starting to listen. So just get ready, Great Britain, because either by today or tomorrow, within the next couple of days, we're going to have street parties. People are going to be getting drunk in the pubs, and I've been hammering it in, hammering it in to people what to do. And finally, after all these months, I've been saying it since a couple of months after he won the election. I've been telling people what to do. And now they're finally listening. So the tide is turning. I'm so happy. I can't believe people are listening to me. This is awesome. Because I know, see, because like when you sit in the mind of God, when you can do the physics that sits in the mind of God, and you have access to people like the Queen, who knows how this country is run. She's the one that told me about how Starmer and his government were committing cruel and unusual punishment. They were breaking the cruel and unusual punishment laws, with the ALA, putting that crap in the milk and all that cruel and unusual punishment. The winter fuel allowances and that with the elderly people and the vaccines, like putting, how that whole Pegasus thing, it's cruel and unusual punishment. It's one of the very few laws that, under extreme circumstances, it's the torture, cruel and unusual punishment laws. So see the doctors in that tortured me, all the people that physically tortured me, my voice is going, that there's a law that's torture, cruel and unusual punishment, and it's one of the very few laws that could still, in its severest form, carry the death penalty, even though the death penalty was abolished in the 60s. It's one of those few laws that can still carry the death penalty if it's bad enough. So, how they were threatening to take people's benefits away, how they said to people, if you don't have digital IDs, you can't have a job or have a business. That's cruel and unusual punishment, where you're purposefully inflicting physical or psychological or financial distress on people under British law, is the cruel and unusual punishment law. So, and people didn't know all this. So I found all this stuff out because I have the best judges and lawyers at my disposal because of the God frequency. Because of my physics, I have access to the mind of God, the creative universe. And you have access to all knowledge up there. That's when people say, how did she know that? It's because I ask and the universe tells me. Although with the cruel and unusual punishment law, I think I was getting dinner ready, and that was the Queen that came through with that one. So, yeah, I love my physics. I love being an occult physicist, the only one in the world. I'm proud of what I do because now, look, people are listening, and it's going to save Great Britain. And I said to you all those weeks ago when I did my live, didn't I? To thank the people, the taxpayer of Great Britain, for having my back when I needed to heal and recover and rebuild myself, in return to say thank you, I'm getting rid of Starmer and his government. And now look, boom, boom, because I'm a woman of my word. I have honour and I have integrity because that's how my father raised me. He was a military man, 34 years in the New Zealand Royal Engineers 2-5 support. Whoop, whoop. Because my dad was a man of honour and integrity. He might have been distant with me emotionally because he didn't know how to handle my emotional side. He didn't understand what a high funk was, but we bonded in our own way. He's more than made up for it now, though. But one thing that nobody can say about my father is that he wasn't a man of honour. He was a man of high honour. He had integrity. He had morals and ethics for leadership, as in Aries, and that. He wasn't the best husband, but my mum wasn't the best wife. Oh, it's not that she wasn't the best wife, she wasn't the best mother. They were two broken people who came together to do their best. And now people like me and my sister are healing those wounds, and using it to pay off our parents' karmic debt. And now they're helping me with people like you. You hear me talk about dreams about my mum and dad and that all the time, because they're there. They're always there. I can access them whenever I want. So now, yeah, because of my dad, I'm a woman of my word, and if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I'm a actions speak louder than words. You know, I'm around people who talk. We're going to do this, promise this, promise, and this, and I love you, and we're going to be this, and then nothing gets done. I'm not like that. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I'm a woman of my word. I have integrity. So there you go, Great Britain. So when he's resigned and it's all over and it's announced we're getting a new election, I've paid you back. I've paid the taxpayers back for looking after me, because I'm on government assistance. I make just enough to do what I have to. I'm currently saving up for a Hoover. I need a vacuum cleaner. My vacuum cleaner broke a few months ago, so I'm trying to save up for a vacuum cleaner. It's driving me up the wall that I can't hoover. I'm using my slipper. I put my slipper on and drag it across the carpet to clean up all the hair and, dust and debris in there. I've got the worst shovel and brush, broom and thing, but I make do and mend, eh? That's the old British old school, make do and mend. I do the best with what I have, but I really need to get myself a Hoover. So I'm trying to save my money at the moment to get myself a new vacuum cleaner. But I will be paying you back every penny through getting rid of your government for you. And then if I was ever Prime Minister, I said because it means I'd be getting justice and I'd be getting all my money from my lawsuit, I wouldn't take a wage as a Prime Minister. And then that's paying the British taxpayer back everything they paid for me over the last 3.5 years with interest. Because, like I said, I'm a woman of honour and I have integrity, because that's how my father raised me. You have the back of your king, or in his case it was his queen. He had his queen's back and he had his nation's back, and that's me. So, like father, like daughter. Twofold, because I've got my dad who conceived me, and I got my father who raised me. So get ready, Great Britain. You're about to have the biggest party of your life. Just don't make the same mistakes. Remember, learn from this. This was a harsh lesson, and not repeating the same mistakes that you've been making since, like, pretty much Thatcher, really. But the Queen is saying it needs to start with Tony Blair. Tony Blair's the one she holds responsible for the start of the downfall of Great Britain. So just get ready. I can't believe people are listening to me. Petition the King. Take the template. I'll put the link in the description box. Put your information into it. You put your name, your address, put your signature, and chuck it in the post and send it all to the King. Let him get millions, all those digital ID signatures, all the general calling for the general election. What was it, 3.5 million people? And the government were like, oh, nah, they're not allowed to do that. That's what you don't understand. They weren't allowed to do that. The Prime Minister has no legal authority to tell people they can't have an election. It's not up to him. It's the MPs that decide whether there's an election or not. What he did by denying the election is actually illegal. But they don't want people knowing that. But I'm like, it's illegal, it's illegal, it's illegal, like a bird, squawking. But now people are listening, aren't they? Yay! Stummer's going to be hating me something wicked. I'm so happy. Yay! I'm so happy. I can't believe people are listening. Petition the King, people. I will put the links in the description box, and just copy that letter, but put your name in, put your information in. It's the price of a postage stamp. Get everyone in your neighbourhood to write a letter and get everyone in your neighbourhood to sign it. So there's like one letter being posted off with however many signatures attached to it. Chuck it in the post a couple of days, the king's got it, and then by law he's forced to react. Otherwise you can kick him off the throne. And he, like I said, he doesn't deserve that. He's a good man. He's been blamed for things he doesn't deserve to be blamed for, but now is the time to do something. That brave man, that Justice of the Peace captain, sorry I didn't look at his name, but I'm just so proud of him. I'm so thankful and so grateful that people are listening. So pass it on. Now you know what to do. I'm going to go and finish my coffee and revel in the glory of the fact that I was right about everything, and Starmer screwed up monumentally the day he threatened to send missiles into Russia. The biggest mistake, because then he pissed God off. And when you piss God off, that's when Satan comes a calling. And like I said, when it was announced that his rent boys are taking it to trial and he's screwed, even he knows he's screwed, I said to him, I told you Satan was going to come knocking on your door. So this is what I'm saying, people. Satan isn't the bad guy. Satan is one of the reasons why we're about to get rid of Keir Starmer and Labour. He's not the bad guy unless you're the bad guy. But I can teach you all of that. So, yeah. So my MSNN, if I can, all I need is an artist, someone who can do digital art that isn't AI. I want old school. I hate AI, and the reason why you can't call yourself an artist or a writer or a filmmaker or anything like that if you use AI. And I have no respect for anything that you do using AI, because it's putting real writers and real artists and real filmmakers out of a job. That's why at my foundation, my boys and I said we won't use AI for anything. If we write stuff, it's going to be hand typed, handwritten, all old school writers, old school artists, old school filmmakers, all old school, where we hold the cameras and film the shots and edit it all ourselves, and all old school. No AI. AI was put in place to destroy the creative mind, to control the minds of the sheep and destroy the creative mind. When you have AI taking over doing all your art and book writing and that for you, and your speeches and stuff, nothing is coming from the heart. And a real writer and a real artist, it comes from the depths of their soul. It's intuitive, it's empathic, it is like the air that they breathe, and that is something that AI can never put into anything they create. There's no soul in anything that AI creates when it comes to the creative and artistic world. There is no, they say creative artistic expression. AI has no empathy. There's no empathic, intuitive joy and peace when you look at anything AI creates, because there's no heart and soul behind it. There's no intuition and instinct behind it. There's no empathy and love and feeling behind it. And it kills jobs for the old school artists and writers and all of that. So we won't be having anything AI in my foundation. Everything will be done the old way, like how they did it in the 80s, the 70s and 80s and all that, going right back to old school, because then it keeps writers and artists and musicians and filmmakers and all of that and programmers and that, it keeps them in jobs and keeps their skills alive. So, yeah, I'm so happy. Anyway, just watch, guys, get ready, get your champagne, get your whiskey, get your whatever, get ready to pop the cork, because it's coming. Just like I promised. Yeah, I keep my promises. I'll speak to you later. Happy New Year, everyone. Ka kite anō. Mwah.